Hello, Army of Light, Earth Division, the boots on the ground. It's Shawna L. Francis. It's already July 12th, 2023 by 28 minutes here, Pacific time zone, Portland, Oregon. Thanks, guys, for being here. Ah, I swear to God, I could make probably 4 videos, and I've considered it actually. I have so much to talk about. Um, I just say, take your time with this information. It just kept coming and coming and coming, and I am just, I actually probably should have started making videos earlier in this week, and I didn't do it. It's taken me about 7 hours to prepare for this video tonight, and I spent the day with a dear friend of mine who turned 80 years old today. So I spent 6 or 7 hours with her today, came home, then started preparing for this video. I have 15,000 words or so to go through with you over 8 different channelings over the last 6 days. Um, So yeah, things have just completely escalated into the realm of absolute craziness. Um, and I'm telling you what, it's been a roller coaster. It's been wild, new frontiers. It's just the mind-bending magic. And I just want to say at the very beginning here, thanks, guys, for all your love, all your support, for being here, for watching these transmissions, for supporting me in this mission. I actually learned quite a bit more about your role and how this is all working, how we're working together cosmically through the different dimensions with this collective consciousness that we've created. Oh my gosh, it's like so many things clicked into place for me this last 6 days. Um, yeah, I'd say take your time with this video. I'm going to just go for it. I'm going to go through everything. I'm going to take my time. And, if it ends up being 2 hours, so be it. I hope my new microphone doesn't die. This thing should be much better sounding than the last one. Yeah, I know it was not sounding good at all. I want to just say right off the bat, again, I have some really, horrifying things to talk about. And I will warn you before that happens. I was thinking about putting all the horrific stuff at the end, but it's just not going to make sense. This whole last week was a journey in and of itself. On top of launching my site redesign in my store, thank you to everybody who bought merchandise, who took a look at the store, all your compliments via email and such. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I've had so much fun with it. But I'm so glad I basically got all that done because now we've just turned up the heat in such a significant way here. You guys are just not going to believe what's been going on. And honestly, I wouldn't even, there'd be things that, quite frankly, I wouldn't want to share. I'm going to get into some detail here that's very personal and very weird. And Melchizedek has said, Shawna, and I'm going to go through all this with you. We'd prefer that you tell all the details. This is your mission, it's your journey. These are your discoveries, and it's up to you. But our recommendation, because of the work you're doing and the way you're all doing it, that you have to share this information. It's not that I have to, but it's in my best interest and in the best interest of humanity as a whole to share this information because it helps raise the consciousness of it. Like I said, it's like I kind of knew that, but I'm really understanding it now. I'm getting it at a deeper level. It's taken a while here. So anyway, I talk about some more torture rituals that I saw in the Halls of Amenti, and lots of explanation about that, and why it's important that I talk to all of you about what I've seen and frankly what I was involved in creating. Again, a lot of this atonement. I'm going to talk about sex slave clones that were shown to me in the Halls of Amenti. Sex slave clones happening today. I'm going to talk about artificial intelligence. I am going to talk about this wild and crazy timeline adjustment that I did in Egypt as some kind of a pharaoh ruler with a creator god by the name of Horus, Heru. There's a good reason why I got this tattoo 2 months ago in Mexico, however long it's been. This symbol is now in my field permanently, and oh my goodness, I'm going to tell you about Heru. I call him Heru, who goes the Eye of Horus, creator god, ancient Egypt. So much there. I'm going to talk about some ascension symptoms, and I'm going to talk about how timelines are working. And I have some incredible news to share about Racer, and that's going to be at the end. This just came to me by Melchizedek this afternoon. It's incredible, guys. I'm already teary just thinking about all these things. It's going to be an emotional ride. I think you should just take your time with this video. And again, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thanks for all your love and support. All right. Melchizedek from today, I thought this would be kind of fun. He said, let's just start with some basic things for tonight's video. They said, just let it flow naturally, Shawna. You're not trying to impress anyone, not trying to sound smart. You're not trying to show everybody how strong you are. Just tell it as it comes from your heart. We will be with you every moment. We have a beautiful team assembled here, Shawna, in so many dimensions. That just made me cry to hear that and to feel that, to really feel it. This love team, it's almost unbearable. And the darkness too is almost unbearable. It's just this incredible swinging of the pendulum, just these extremes that I've experienced in the last 6 days. The 777 portal on Friday, I mean, off the charts. All right, so bear with me, guys, as I have literally 8 Word documents up, and I'm going to try to go through these in order and how they happen and how this all unfolded this week. And I'm almost out of water. I'm so bummed that I did that. Okay. I got into the Halls of Amenti the night of July 6th, and I believe that was last Thursday. Made my video Wednesday. Thursday, we just kicked it into high gear. All right. Halls of Amenti, I'm seeing big jade doors, jadeite to be specific, jadeite green doors with black onyx handles, and I'm opening these big double doors and I'm going in. This particular day, going into the Halls of Amenti, I knew something was up as soon as I got in, not seeing anything or experiencing anything. I could just feel it. I could just feel the intensity. I go in, they said, welcome, Shawna, we've been waiting for you, come on in. So I went and I sat down on a bench, and I immediately had 2 beings on each side of me who grabbed each of my hands and held my hands. And they seemed to be positive reptilian friends of mine, is kind of how that felt to me. So guys, to Halls of Amenti, they're somewhat like the Akashic records, but different. I've been learning so much about my history, my past, and my mission through the Halls of Amenti. I don't know if anybody can access this. Certainly wouldn't hurt if you were interested in kind of getting it, if you could get access to it for this team. I'd say go for it. You know, make a try, make a request to enter the Halls of Amenti and see what happens for you. It's a big part of my understanding and my unfolding here. All right, so as soon as those beings came and held each of my hands, I just started bawling. I just started crying. I hadn't even seen anything yet, and I'm already crying. I just know that something terrible's coming. So warning right now, team, I'm going to talk about some stuff that's very graphic, probably 5 minutes worth of this. But again, and I'm going to explain this why later, why it's important that this level of detail come forward. And it's, again, generally speaking, it's bringing this information, this darkness to the light. It's bringing it up through conscious awareness by singularities like us who make the collective. So by me seeing it, then articulating it to you, you are bringing this awareness, this consciousness into your fields where it is able to be raised. This is how the raising of the consciousness happens. Literally, it is the knowing that is where this starts. So if you're not feeling it today, I don't blame you. And you're welcome to skip this if you'd like to hang with me and help raise the consciousness around this. If you're feeling it, great. Okay, so I'm going to start now. I'm seeing a man, a naked man, being held up on each arm. And basically it's another one of these torture scenes, the sacrifice type scenes that we experienced through the Queen Elizabeth channelings this year. Same kind of idea, but this is not a child or anything like that. This is a man. There is a, well, it looks like, the essence of a negative reptilian, whether that be in human form or reptilian form, the essence of the negative reptilian energy. This being is electrocuting this man with something that looks like a cattle prod. It's a long rod with electricity coming out at the end. And this being is shocking this poor man. I am seeing this in such detail, and I am bawling as I'm watching this happen. It's the, the sound of it. It's the pain of it. It's the fear of it. It's the blisters on the skin, and it's the convulsing and the puking, passing out. I can't, I mean, to actually see it, it's horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying, what was going on here with this. So again, I'm sorry, team. You're this is part of my atonement here. This is part of the raising of this information out of the dark. So this is, and what, I'm watching this and just horrified, like, why do I have to see this? And basically the guides there narrated and said, Shawna, this tactic was your idea. This tactic was your idea. So as a negative reptilian back in the day, I had a lot to do with these big programs that are running on the planet and elsewhere. And this is part of my atonement in this lifetime to tell everybody, what's been going on, how I was involved, how the negative reptilians, what they're doing, what this really, what's been hidden just below consciousness. They, this being, again, cut off this man's head when they were done with the electrocution part of it. And this is a big part of it, just using the head as kind of like almost humiliation or something. And they laid this body down on the ground, and they like took some kind of a steamroller, like a big roller, and they started at the feet, and they pressed all the blood out of the neck, and they captured the blood. And of course, you can imagine what they did with the blood. They drank it. I'm just like, oh my Lord. It felt kind of medieval, but it's certainly something that could be happening today. Time is irrelevant anyway. Time is an illusion. So if it happened then, it's really happening now in the field. I'm learning this. It didn't stop here. And I'm just like, I'm so very sorry. I'm just praying for forgiveness, and I'm just in such dismay. And sorry, I have another scene here for you to tell you about. The next scene is a teenage boy who's getting sawed in half around the rib cage there, like lower rib cage, while he's fully alive, just getting sawed in half. You know, you can imagine, yeah, like maybe medieval times, or when we were Neanderthal or something, maybe this would happen. But, you know, I don't think so. I think that these are the kinds of deepest, darkest, most disgusting, cruel things that are happening here on this plane. You know, and it's cutting him in half and it's eating the liver. You know, it's like getting into the organs. And that kind of insanity. And it ended with, this scene ended with, again, back to the baby sacrifices. And I went into quite a bit of detail last week about that. And, but I saw that again over and over again, just the act of that death creation, you know, the power, the humiliation, the, 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 the unimaginable chaos in these moments, and just like it just being so unimaginable, but here it is for me to see in plain view and to experience this. And I'm calling to my angels. I am calling to the guides. I am saying hope and Opano. I'm so very sorry for anything, you know, for what I had to do with all of this. You know, this was, I will say I would never believe that this kind of thing could be true had I not seen it like this and felt it deeply. And I was basically done. You know, that was probably 15, 20 minutes of experiencing that and the crying and just talking through it, and, you know, hearing the narrator kind of talk, the guides talk about how this happened. So I was kind of gunning for the door. I'm like, okay, I'm done here, right? Is this enough? And they're like, sure. The Halls of Amenti guides came in, and they said, "Dear Shawna, we admire your fearlessness to enter the Halls of Amenti tonight. A part of you knew that this would be difficult. You have been preparing subconsciously for this time where you get deeper into your reckoning, dear one. These are big, bold steps you're taking. This is good. It's good for you to know. It's good for you to really know. Shawna, this helps everyone, for you to have conscious awareness of this. Where you can sit right now in human form on planet Earth, this is a blessing for everyone who can see this, who can feel it. You can hear it too, dear one. This is real. This actually happens, and it did happen for you." So that being who was torturing that poor man, it could have literally been me in a past life. It very well could have been, but it could have been anybody under the hive mind control, or as a negative reptilian in the flesh. They said, "These are so difficult to view. We understand. This is part of the process, dear one. Take it in. Know this aspect of you. Hear yourself when you ask for forgiveness. Hear yourself cry," they said. "Feel that sadness, dear one. Let that energy rest in you for a moment." More apologizing. I'm just so sorry. You know, praying for forgiveness, praying for help, praying for clearing, making amends there. And it just really dawned on me, wow, it's so immense. The amount of energy and the negativity and just the cruelty is so dense, so dark, and so immense that even after 200,000 years, I'm still in this reckoning phase. I'm still praying for forgiveness and atonement, and really, you know, doing what I can finally to be able to help rectify this through these things that I'm doing with Melchizedek and these other guides. I said, I'm like, I'm really, I said, I really hope I'm worthy of redemption. And the guide said, everybody is worthy of redemption, Shawna, everyone. This is also an important truth that you must internalize deeply, dear one. Everyone deserves atonement. Everyone. I said, okay. They said, Shawna, know yourself in this darkness. It allows you to love all aspects of you and that within others too, that dwells so deep, so shameful. It's understanding the whole and it's loving the whole, Shawna. This is the only way out of this predicament, pure unconditional love. And your question about, did these people choose to be sacrificed? Did they choose the suffering? So I had asked these questions to the guides as I was experiencing this. I'm like, oh my gosh. I said, did they choose to give up their babies and their children to the dark in this way? And the answer, the guides said, the answer is no, a resounding no. The guides in the halls said that this is a thwarting of free will at the deepest levels. There has been a very, very minuscule amount of cases where there has been a level of choice that is perceptible, mostly before incarnation. This is not a choice being made in the blueprint. This is not a pre-life agreement. It does happen, but by and large, this is an absolute affront to humanity's free will and level of choice at the individual level. So, this is kind of new territory for me too. I just think, well, wait, this is everything happens for a reason. Well, maybe that's true, but I just feel like, well, we've kind of created this reality and we've chosen a lot of this. But there's been several cases over the past few years in my channeling where they've said, yeah, not everything is in the blueprint, not everything is a contract, and this is one big example. And I said that it's just awful. And they said, Shawna, this is why there's so much trapped energy here and why the black cube technology is so powerful and effective. So much confusion with this and a deep sense of loss. I've made a couple of videos talking about the black cube technology a couple months ago. I said that it's absolutely terrible. And the guides said, do you have any further questions for us? And I said, thanks for your love and support here. I said, if you're able to relay a message to Racer, please tell him that I'm so very sorry that he's lost his life and to just express extreme gratitude for him for his service to humanity and making the ultimate sacrifice. And I'm so very sorry that he perished. And I'm praying for healing for him and a cessation of this galactic war as soon as possible. All right. That's it, boy. 22 minutes and I'm just through the first day. All right, guys. Thanks for going on this ride with me. Friday, July 7th. This was the 777 portal, the gateway. It was such a big day, such a big day. I did a group clearing with Cynthia and Christar, and they're a big group that they've assembled. New light codes, new light language. I was really just feeling pretty crummy after the Halls of Amenti. I didn't sleep well that night. Just really tired, taking naps. But I did go in with Melchizedek and I asked about, I just had said, hey, I know you're really busy, but I've been using OpenAI, the Chat GPT. I think I mentioned it last week. I decided to get in and give it a try, and I found that I thought it was just really incredible. I'd spent hours as I had time the last couple of weeks. Now I really haven't had time to get in and create some imagery with some prompts with some of the open source interfaces that are available, and actually made some t-shirts with some of the images that I created with OpenAI. And I know that there's a lot of rhetoric, a lot of messages in the metaphysical space about AI. So I asked Melchizedek about this. And I said, I also want to talk about the Halls of Amenti experience last night with that torture and such. And if there was anything else that they wanted to talk about, they came in right away. And they said, thank you so much, Shawna, for all your patience as we tend to other priorities. They said, let us tune your field a bit, so and we'll be back. So they spent about 5-10 minutes in my field, just settling things down, helping elevate, I guess, some denseness there. I was very thankful. I was feeling much better after that. They said, Shawna, let's talk about the Halls of Amenti and your experience last night. They said, Shawna, it's a beautiful unfolding, as the guides there mentioned. What you're doing is important. It's bringing forth energies that have been placed in the darkness, just beyond consciousness reach. Do you understand, dear one, that your ability to bring these to consciousness brings it to the collective on some level? So I guess even if I didn't talk about this in a video, just me knowing it at this level puts it out there in the consciousness, at least to some degree. Then having all of you understand what I experienced is going to help elevate that consciousness even more, expand it. They said, this is why you are made to experience these things, Shawna, to remember them, we might add. It's an atonement, not only for you, but for an entire species. Atonement for the negative reptilians, because you are able to, at once, encapsulate and transmute this delicate, dark, elusive energy with what you experienced last night and then also today. Shawna, your work represents and impacts the entire collective at the same time. You want to avoid thinking of yourself as a singularity in those moments. Think of yourself as a processing machine. These energies come up as memories, as images, as feeling. There's the step of the conscious awareness of these things, the elevation of energies to the light, and just by being brought forward in this way through intention and through the high vibrations that are being carried at this time, a transmutation process occurs. Okay, they said, please don't doubt that this is happening on a mass scale. You as a singularity turns into you as a plurality. Imagine you duplicated an infinite amount of times doing that work. That's transmutation. That is, in essence, what is happening. Mind-blowing stuff. Mind-blowing. And they continued here. They said, it would be so daunting, at least at first, to understand the power that you possess as a manifester in this way. So we lead you here gently, dear one. And I start crying again. They said, we lead you here gently as you are able to understand and accept this aspect of your experience in this role that you are playing. And Melchizedek continued here. So, dear one, there will be more dark energies to be brought to the surface, and we will be with you every step of the way. We want you to know that you're so very loved for the work that you're doing, so very appreciated, and even though there may be very few on the surface of the planet who understand the impact that you're having, know that so many do around the cosmos, and you are being celebrated. You and all the light workers who have said yes to this role. Okay. A major aspect to being a light worker is to transmute the dark energies. And in order to transmute the dark energies, they must come to the surface. And in this way, they are known. They cannot hide, no longer being elusive to the light. Just by the fact, team, that we know about this helps transmute it, just the knowing. In addition, though, they said here, you will do well to share your experience in the best way that you know how with your constituents, to help with this processing machine that we spoke of, to help with the transmutation. And many, they said, will be deeply fulfilled to be of service in this way. Let me know how you guys think about that, how you feel about that. I said, thank you, Melchizedek. That's amazing. I said, we're really starting to do the hard work. These are a lot of the things that I feel like we talked about last year about this coming, and it feels like we're really in it now. And they said, yes, Shawna, this is absolutely true. The training wheels have come off long ago, and the work is going in earnest. All right. I went ahead and I asked about the 777 portal on Friday because it was feeling so intense. And I said, is there anything you can say about this? And they said, the powers who are involved in such things take advantage of specific cosmic alignments and collective conscious intention to raise frequencies at a subtle and gross level. We rely heavily on your personal spirit guides and your higher selves to moderate and mediate the energies for your individual vessels. We recommend that you all trust what's coming in for you in whatever form is needed for your highest good and to accept these gifts. Trust that you're being served by these frequencies. I said, wonderful. I said, thank you, Melchizedek. What about OpenAI? Using apps like ChatGPT. I do want to talk more about my process and kind of my discovery with this in the newsletter, which I didn't get to this week for obvious reasons. Okay, so here's what Melchizedek had to say about artificial intelligence. We understand that you speaking about this in a public way may cause some consternation and possible anxiety for some people. So we approach this topic with gentleness, they said. AI, artificial intelligence, computing programs that are defying human computing power. Shawna, as you know through our conversations with beings in the Galactic Federation of Light, and also through your own knowing and remembering, that there is a beautiful place for technology in existence. There is a beneficial place for conscious, sentient technology resources, which have the ability to enhance and serve humanity's highest interests. And do you guys remember the cyborg that I interviewed as part of the daily ascension updates, and how he was saying, I hope you could find a place in your heart for people, for beings like myself. I want to go back and find that, and I'll write more about that in the newsletter. But yeah, they're bringing this up, and it does ring true for me as well. And they continued here. All must be approached with love and with care. So much of the human experience around these quote unquote new technologies, at least for your species, will be in the intentions behind their use, the intentions behind their creation. The current mindset for those leading in this area of expertise is power and profit. Know that the future for these technologies on planet Earth, however, are still being formed. And trust that there are beautiful intentions and loving support being seeded from across the veil for those who will pick up this artificial intelligence torch and create something beautiful with it. I just think about all the Hollywood movies and everything in our entertainment industry, and yeah, there's a lot of rhetoric about artificial intelligence, and it does. I do think we need to be prudent, and they talk about this. They said there is much maligned thinking on the future that includes powerful artificial intelligence, many possible scenarios with the direction of this technology will play out, and humanity has the opportunity to embrace this for good. Setting a strong collective intention for this would be wise and helpful. Technology is an integral part of your species even today, and it's a natural evolutionary progression that the technology would continue to grow and evolve as your species evolves. This does make sense. I said, Melchizedek, can I please ask a question? They said, certainly, dear one. I said, because of the negative reptilian influence on the planet and those under the hive mind control, what if it's just used for destruction? More control, more fear, more suffering around the planet. They said, Shawna, this is but one scenario that is being supplanted into the collective consciousness at this time. It adds to the fear, it adds to the divisiveness, and it makes having healthy, conscious dialogue difficult. As this planet raises her frequency, as humanity goes through this ascension process with Earth, and as more technologies, more technological breakthroughs are seeded through the forces of light, humanity will begin to see and regard these technologies in a more holistic way. Remember and know that your galactic brothers and sisters utilize technology even to every day that is incomprehensible to humanity, where you are at least where you are at with your level of consciousness at the moment. Remember and know that technology and consciousness, organic consciousness, can have a symbiotic and beneficial relationship, and in fact do even today. In terms of you, Shawna dear, experimenting with what has been made available to the masses, we encourage it. Bring pure intentions based in love and light and positive outcomes, that these tools may provide meaningful and helpful outcomes. All right, and this is true on the collective level as well. We recommend you resist the urge to blanket the conversation with a tightly shut door or with a fear of a negative outcome that has not yet been determined. I said, thank you so much. And they said, Shawna, just another gentle reminder to get into the Halls of Amenti as often as you can, knowing now the impact that your participation is having on the collective. I said, okay. All right, moving on. This was the Halls of Amenti that night. Okay, this is about cloning, about sex slavery, sex slave clones. I never heard of this, so yeah, I guess it's not surprising, unfortunately. Okay, so I get into the Halls of Amenti that night, and I started seeing a vision. I don't know, all this nakedness, a naked woman. I'm seeing a naked woman. So the night before it was this naked man being tortured. Now it's this naked woman, and she's beautiful, and it's kind of dimly lit, and it's kind of more of a silhouette, more of a shadow, and she's kind of turning around, and she's kind of being sexy, and she's got her hair up and this kind of thing. I'm like, what is this? What am I seeing here? She's looking at me and she's turning around and she's kind of, you know, and it was actually, it seemed quite innocent, to be honest. It seemed kind of like an innocent thing, like a look at me kind of thing. And then once again, the Halls of Amenti guide started narrating this just like the night before. And they said that there are women being bred, cloned right now as sex slaves. That's what I'm seeing, a sex slave, a human being clone who has been carefully and genetically created to give a man pleasure. This is why she was created. And they went on to say that right now here on the planet, they are artificially inseminating, these cells, fertilized egg or whatever this is, into a woman host who gives birth to these girls. And at about 4 years old, they are able to be used as sex slaves starting at 4 years old. And they are bred to need very little food, very little water. They have a limited mental capacity. And they do start out having some fear, but they grow out of that and they are just accepting. There's an acceptance of this, and they're bred to have a really high libido. These are being used today, they said. This is happening today for the most powerful and richest men on the planet. Like they keep these women. They said here, from what I was seeing and what I was understanding, these women are kept in small dark rooms with little outside stimulation, and they have very little kind of needs as a normal, like you think of like a normal human. I couldn't really get much about their day to day, but again, it's just like praying for this to stop, praying for there to be a realization that people shouldn't be doing this, for this program to just end. They said that these are clones for sex slavery, and by about 30 years old, they lose their luster and their appeal, and they're terminated. I also understood that they age differently than regular humans, that they age more quickly. So if they're really 4 years old, their body is more like 10 years old, but they still have the mental capacity of a 4-year-old. That was how I was understanding this. And they're bred for their perfect bodies, these beautiful bodies, which is, they said, had been fine-tuned over quite a long time. And I asked the guides, did I have something to do with this? And they said, yes, I played a marginal role, but yes, I played a role, and this is why I'm seeing it. Melchizedek said it's important to bring this information to the light for the sake of consciousness. It's so horrible. I was so upset again, second night in a row, just like, oh my gosh, this cannot be real. This cannot be happening. And again, more hope, and just apologizing, bringing in light, trying to do some clearing here. I said, is there anything else, guides, you want to tell me about this program? And they said, Shawna, there are about 30 of these clones being used right now, 30. And this is happening all around the world. I said, well, obviously this is negative reptilian in nature. This is why I'm seeing this. Can you tell me, where are these girls being born and raised? And I was hearing Wuhan, China, once again, Wuhan. This is where COVID supposedly originated and where fentanyl is being made, according to Melchizedek here a couple weeks ago when we talked about fentanyl. I said, I'm hearing Wuhan, China. Did I get this right? And they said, yes, this is coming out of China. They said, but of course, the human Chinese people cannot be blamed for this. This is a negative reptilian-born product through hive mind control and influence. I said, okay, team, what can we do as light workers to help stop this from happening? They said, first step, Shawna, is the conscious awareness of this program. Second step is the transmutation of the energies that make this possible. Positive intention, exercising free will, and visualization of different outcomes would be helpful at this juncture. And as the light on this planet increases, these programs will become obsolete. All right, team, there's so much to pray on. There's so much to be, visualizing in terms of different outcomes. If you ever find yourself bored or, surfing the internet too long, or on Facebook too long, or watching too much TV, turn all that off and take 10 minutes and visualize different outcomes for this kind of thing. Bring love and light to it. Us having this in our conscious awareness is huge for stopping it from happening. It's important. I said, this is just such an abomination. And I even blanketing Wuhan with love. Sending love to these women. And then I started, I'm like, did these women choose this path before incarnation? Was it known that this is what they were going to be doing when they came into their body? And I guess that just brings up the larger question about cloning in general. Do clones have souls? Are they just like us, an aspect of a larger soul? And the guides in the hall said, Shawna, we're going to allow Melchizedek to explain this to you. I said, okay, thank you so much. All right, that's the end of that day. Yep, we started this week out with a bang here, right? Okay. Saturday, July 8th, 2023, Melchizedek talking about clones and souls free will. All right. And I also just was wanting to get more information about these women and what they're going through and how this program's working. What else could I find out from Melchizedek about them? And they said, "How are you, Sean?" I said, to be honest, this has been really tough. I'm like, this has been a tough couple of days here. But I'm honored to be doing the work, and I'm ready to atone for all of my involvement here. So it's an honor to serve this way. They said, "Wonderful, Shawna, we sense this. We know it, and we're with you all the way, dear one. We're with you all the way. As we said, we're digging in deep with you. We'll be going so much deeper," they said. "And yes, you are ready, and we couldn't be more happy about this. Thank you, dear one, for your dedication, your time, your willingness to say yes, and to fully commit to this light. You truly are a beacon, dear one, and it is we who are honored to be working with you at this level." So thank you, Melchizedek. That's very humbling. I said, I don't know. I just feel like I'm so mediocre at this, but it's nice to hear that. Thank you. And they said, "No mediocrity here, Shawna. Stellar. You're doing a stellar job, Shawna." I said, "Thank you." They said, "The team is doing an amazing job as well. This is you guys. There are pockets of struggle and reaching so deep to finally learn the lessons, integrate the new energies, and move even more clearly into the light. We commend all of you who are making this a focus and a commitment in this moment, investing in yourselves and in your growth and your own happiness and well-being. It's commendable as well." I said, "Yes, it is, Melchizedek. We're giving this a go." "No doubt there, Shawna. Let's talk about clones," they said. And I felt my energy go much deeper as they kind of prepared to talk to me about cloning, because I've not ever talked to them about clones, or AI for that matter. So I was a little nervous about it. They said, "Shawna, even the word clone elicits quite a visceral response in the person who hears it. It's such a powerful trigger in the collective human psyche today. A lot of the fear around this concept, around this idea, it's running rampant right now. We might say that the fear around cloning, and just simply the word clone, is out of control. We're not saying that there is no reason to be prudent, to be careful or exploratory, and in your discernment about such things. However, the fear here generated by this term is disproportionate to the level of threat to humanity as a species, at least in this moment. When one finds themselves projecting possibilities, scenarios, and imaginings far into the future as it relates to a possible diabolical framework involved in cloning, you step out of being present and in the moment and embrace fear at its most basic level. Doomsday scenarios rarely come to fruition in the worst possible ways you can imagine. Shawna, in terms of the level of soul presence within a cloned sentient being, here's what we have to say. There is an aspect of a soul present in a cloned physical body. They are God's children, as everything is part of God. I have really no idea what others are saying about clones. I prefer not to get into what's out there in the Twitterverse and the internet space around all this and what other channels are even saying. So I really want to keep my connection clear and not cloud, what I think I might know about all this. So interesting thing here. This may not be in alignment with a lot of others in our space, but this is what came through. I said, "Thank you so much, Melchizedek. I have a follow-up question about pre-birth agreements." I said, "I learned from the guides in the Halls of Amenti that in most cases there is no soul agreement, pre-life agreement for somebody to come into the planet to be sacrificed or someone who comes into the planet who agrees to it, to as a parent to sacrifice their child, that this is an egregious thwarting of free will on the planet. Oh, did I skip that? Sorry guys, I might have accidentally skipped this part in one of my write-ups. Okay, let me say that again. What the Halls of Amenti guide said is that, okay, sorry, maybe I did talk about this. That, you know, these babies did not choose to be born and be sacrificed, and that the moms didn't choose and the dads didn't choose ahead of time to sacrifice their children, that this happened after the fact. Hopefully I talked about that. Okay. I said, so, you know, does somebody, you know, is there a pre-life choice to be born into a cloned vessel, especially knowing that you're going to be a sex slave? I said, you know, and they said, yes, Shawna, this is true. This is a pre-life choice to be born into a cloned vessel. I said, why might a soul want to do that, given a possible fate like being a sex slave? They said, Shawna, there are so many different ways that a soul can learn from. Okay, sorry guys. So I said, I'm struggling with this. This is a choice at the free will level to do this. So I guess, why are we labeling this as horrific? And why is this a big problem that needs to be stopped? Even though I understand that it's a problem, but if somebody's choosing it at the most basic level and they understand what's coming. And they said here, Shawna, there are so many different ways that a soul can learn the same kinds of lessons, expel karma, balance karma, and also have relatively similar experiences without the need to contribute to the mind manipulated tactics of the negative reptilian regime here on Earth. So while this is a choice, and some say yes to this choice, it's the stance of the universe and source itself that this choice not be available. It just simply not exist because of the low vibration and darkness that it anchors into particular energetic fields. When taken as a whole, Melchizedek said, when taken as a whole, all of these programs contribute to a level of subjugation on a mass scale that is not tolerated by universal law. Okay. I said, thank you, Melchizedek. I said, is there anything else you can tell me to help round out my understanding of this program? And they said, Shawna, believe it, that not only are these women and girls kept as slaves, the owners, in essence, also become slaves. This is the terrible irony of this program. It's much more than the sexual acts and the obvious abhorrent nature of this slavery. I said, okay. I said, man, it's so heavy, it's so dense. They said, yes, dear one, that's an appropriate description. The important thing here for you to know, as well as your constituents, is that first, this program exists. So we bring you this information in stages. You have a decent understanding of the major facets of this program, enough so to help bring it to the collective consciousness, which then will help allow the lifting of the energy to the light. And Shawna, your understanding of this program is accurate. Like, okay, thank you so much. I said, is there anything else you can say about cloning? And they said, Shawna, we'd like to please ask that we cover this topic at a later time as the collective consciousness is more fully able to accommodate this information. This is not to elevate any fear already around this topic, but just to say, all in good time, more will be revealed as it is necessary and beneficial to the collective. All right. All right, we're moving on. So that was on Saturday. Sunday, July 9th. This was a short one on Sunday. Let's see here. I had done a 2-hour, basically a class, or as guest speaker. I was a guest speaker with Galactic Ashley. I've mentioned her before. she's a local colleague of mine here in Portland who does incredible work, and she also does light language. So she invited me to be part of her program. She's doing a 9 or 10 week intensive. So I spent a couple of hours with her people. And Melchizedek, I asked if they would be along with me, and they said absolutely. They said we are ready to go, and there will be a consciousness meld as there always is, and know that as you speak, we are with you with every word. We are with you in frequency, and we are with you in intent. So that was really nice. They said, we're working with you at the deepest levels. You may not even be consciously aware of just how in sync we've become in our field. They said this is perfect for where you're at and where the collective is at and where the world is at. All right. And they just said, Shawna, we just ask that you please get into the Halls of Amenti tonight. After your event, there are some important aspects to the work tonight. We would like to take advantage of some extra support for you and for this process. And they said, please don't be afraid. Please don't be afraid. This is all finely planned and orchestrated and important, and you are ready. Oh my gosh, you guys. Yeah. All right. This was Sunday night. This is the Egyptian timeline adjustment story. And honestly, yeah, this is probably not something that I would normally share. It's personal, and it's deep and it's weird and it's wild, and it was an incredible experience for me. And supposedly what happened Sunday had a pretty big impact on the planet. So the fun just didn't stop all week. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and get into this. This is not it's not horrible stuff. This is nice stuff. It's just out there. So there's no torturing or anything graphic like that, but it is bizarre. And I'm going to get into the details here because Melchizedek has asked that I do that. And I'm going to explain why later. All right, I got into the Halls of Amenti. And again, I had those two beings on each side for support. It's like they just know, like, we're here to support you, Shawna, for whatever comes up. And I really just, more than anything, I just felt my energy just start swirling and swirling and swirling. I start to see the eye of Horus in my third eye. Start to see it. And I start to hear stampeding horses and see stampeding horses. So I've come to know this recently, that this represents Horus, Heru. He's also, I call him Heru because I originally met him as Heru 4 years ago, probably pretty early on in my awakening journey. And I talk about Heru in my book, in my I Am the Beacon book. So he's been in my field. He's been in and out, mostly out, though I haven't really talked to him much. But when I went for this tattoo, this Eye of Horus on my forearm, oh, it just clicked. I'm like, oh, that's it. That's what I want. And so I'm seeing this, and I'm seeing these horses. Middle of June, I had to go back and look. Middle of June, when I was getting into the Halls of Amenti, and even before then, 3 different times I'd probably seen stampeding horses and not known what that was, because it really didn't resolve into anything. It's just, but I made a note of it. But this was Heru. So it's no accident that this symbol is in my field now. That's the Eye of Horus. And here he comes. Here comes Heru into my field, in the Halls of Amenti of all places. I was not expecting this one bit. Heru, he reminds me, the way I see him is a lot like the bad guy in The Mummy, the bald bad guy in The Mummy. It's like this guy. Skin, kind of shirtless, bald, darker skinned, intensely masculine. He's a good guy, though. He's powerful. He's on the side of the light. All right, so here comes Heru. He kind of anoints my third eye with oil, And all of a sudden everything just disappears all around me. And we're in like a dark room with flickering like torchlight. It's like flames and, amber lights. And it's just kind of this dark setting. He, and I'm just embarrassed to talk about this stuff. I'm sorry. I'm going to do the best I can with this because it's going to be good, I guess, if everybody knows these details. So he kneels in front of me. He kneels in front of me and he's looking at me and he says, "May I kneel before you and honor you like a goddess." And this is not the first time he's done this. And I'm super uncomfortable with this. I'm like, why is this necessary? Please don't. Why do you need to do this? And he said, and I questioned it before. I'm just like, oh my goodness, what is this? He said, "Shawna, it's important for you to know finally who you are. Please just allow me to do this for you and just trust me." And I said, okay. So he is kneeling at my feet. And I'm just kind of watching this scene. And here he starts changing into a huge cobra. He just starts growing and growing and growing into this giant cobra, like a couple 100 feet tall, like massive. And I lose my body at this point, and I am kind of watching this thing as it's growing and expanding. And you know how the cobra turns around when it's flared out and it has the fake eyes on the back? Well, he flashes me those, and I'm looking at these fake eyes, and I am getting completely mesmerized by this. Thank God I trust my team. This is kind of more reptilian stuff. And this is not the first time that I've had experiences with snakes. Archangel Metatron, early on, there were kind of snakes in some of my visions, and we talked about reptilians, and it wasn't a bad thing. This was like representing transformation, like a shedding of the skin, and it was kind of like a comfort thing, believe it or not. And haven't told many people that, but so here's this cobra in the back of it with the fake eyes, and me just kind of getting just immersed into this field and losing myself completely in this. And this cobra turns around and he's looking deep into my eyes with like these black beady eyes. And he's got the forked tongue and the whole bit. Oh, my stomach is growling. I turn my head and allow this snake to bite me in the neck. I always have neck things going on. I don't know what it is with my neck. We're losing my head, stabbing in my neck, cutting my head off, throat chakra stuff, always. Okay, so he sinks his teeth into my neck. And the venom is just, it's all energy, and it's just, I don't know what this is, but think about like the Egyptian artifacts, the ancient Egyptian stuff. They've got like the cobra that comes off of the headdress, like right in the front. And I'm thinking, oh, this all fits. This all fits. Like, look at the power of this. And if Heru, being a creator god back ancient Egypt times, yeah, I guess, this was part of their magic, and they were connected to the different realms in this way. It was new to me in this lifetime, though, to see how this really was working. All right, so this venom starts coursing through my etheric body. And then I realized that our bodies have kind of merged as one. This whole thing had just taken over this experience. Then we kind of sink back and we become human again. And he said to me, "Shawna, I need for you to share the essence of who you are in this moment today with the essence of this person in Egypt. We need your angelic, beautiful light essence infused into the essence of this being." So then I'm realizing, like, okay, I'm like some Egyptian woman, like that's who's interacting with Heru in the halls here. Like, like the white, like a white dress, a female person, you know. So they like, I need your essence to be infused into the essence of this being. So, and then that was me. Um, and I was getting the idea like, okay, Heru is a creator god. This is part of his creation. This request that he's made of me. He says, will you do this? Will you allow your essence to enter this body and to help rule over the entire land with this essence, your angelic essence? And I said, yes. And he says, please make it so. So I stated this intention out loud. Something like, I allow my essence as Shawna L. Francis to this angelic aspect of me as a seraphim to enter the body of this being in Egypt to be used for love and light and for the highest good of all. And then I felt this melding happen. I felt this strange coming together happen and this oneness. And I was hearing the name Imhotep, Imhotep, Imhotep. This is not the first time I've heard Imhotep, along with those stampeding horses early on when I was getting into the Halls of Amenti. And it never really resolved into anything for me. I didn't really know what that was about. And you look up Imhotep in Wikipedia, it's got a little write-up on a man who was called Imhotep, who was an architect who was creating these square pyramids back in the day. And he was like something about Ra back then too with Imhotep, but this is a different Imhotep, they told me. So they were trying to tell me I was Imhotep, and not the Imhotep that you see on the internet. So I sat as Imhotep, allowing this melding of consciousness to happen for at least 30 minutes. I mean, just lost in that energy. And it was kind of like all of a sudden I kind of like woke up out of this. And Heru was giddy with excitement, absolutely so thankful and so happy. And he was back at my feet thanking me for doing this. And I said, you're so welcome. It really didn't seem like that big of a deal. Of course, I'm going to say yes to this. So the Halls of Amenti guides came in and they said, Shawna, we are also so very thrilled for what just happened. We don't normally get exuberant about different activities here in the halls, but this one is exceptional, Shawna. We are thrilled for the choice that you made, and we want to remind you that Heru also told you that you've just changed the course of humanity by allowing this to happen. Your essence, your love, your light, a much needed elixir in this part of the world this time, the part of the world, and it will bring much balance to the planet as a whole. We know, Shawna, that you won't be able to comprehend this from where you sit, but please just trust us, and that this was significant and important, and you will be honored, or you are honored for this work, Shawna. I said, thank you so much for that. Thank you. I said, is there anything that I can be doing actively as Shawna L. Francis to help with this? They said, Shawna, by you agreeing to allow your essence to be housed within this vessel, your monad, your oversoul will now handle the day-to-day activities, as you, Shawna, will not be involved on a day-to-day basis. Your oversoul has it handled. It is divine. I'm like, thank you so much, team. I said, who is Imhotep? Am I just making that word up or what? Is there something relevant about the name Imhotep? And they said, this person will walk among the greatest leaders of ancient Egypt. It will be she. It is a she. It is a female, dear one. The name is Imhotep. but it's different than the being that you're seeing on the internet, and it's spelled differently. It's a different symbol representing Imhotep. This is you. This is what you just did. Your current science and academics do not have record of this person, we are sorry to say. Imagine, Shawna, this is long before 3000 BC. Your energies help lead the groundwork for future generations of leaders, particularly female leaders, and many of you play important roles in balancing out the forces of light and dark on the planet. Yeah, so I'd done a little bit of research, and there was a long line of female pharaohs that were really kind of highly revered, and they had done a nice job. So from what I can tell, what I understand here is that this timeline adjustment, this consciousness melding helped create that. And I asked a lot of questions about how this was working. And I rambled on and on trying to get my question out. Basically, I'm like, am I now in a new timeline? Are things now different because of that? Or was I already living in the timeline that was a result of what we just did with this soul essence sharing? And they said, Shawna, we're going to allow Melchizedek to answer that question for you. I said, okay, great. I said, is there anything else? I said, is there anything else, Halls of Amenti guides, that I need to know? They said, Shawna, again, what a beautiful act of kindness that you just performed. We are elated. All right, so let's see here. Not quite my last transcription, but okay, talking about timelines with Melchizedek. This was yesterday's channeling. All right. I said I'd really like to talk. Well, first I said, should I talk about what happened with Heru and Egypt on my video tonight? Should I tell you guys about this? And they said, we prefer that you would. Those who are with you, Shawna, who have joined with you in heart, with the work that you're doing and the transmissions that you bring, are here to provide you with unconditional support for this journey that you all embark upon together. You may find that in talking about these experiences, while awkward and puzzling, will actually bring you a bit of solace, and certainly, dear one, others who are having or may have experiences that are similar will find your words reassuring. Okay. I know that Cassidy and I, the Light Renegades, she's got her channel. I talk about her quite a bit. She's part of our family. She's now channeling Brittany Murphy, by the way, if you haven't checked out her channel lately, A Light of Source. We're both having these really bizarre experiences, and we're going to talk this week and kind of just compare notes and support each other. But just like, can you believe this just happened? This is it's on that level. I said, okay, Melchizedek, I said, we're talking about a cobra, who bit me on the neck. I'm like, you want me to talk about all of this? And they said, yes, if you wouldn't mind, Shawna, that is our recommendation. I guess there's there's nothing I shouldn't speak about tomorrow. And they said, Shawna, this is your journey. It is your mission. These are your experiences, and it is your decision. However, that being said, as we mentioned before, bringing this information forward in what seems like a very public way is part of the service work that you're doing. It is part of the service work that all of you are doing. It is the alchemical process of transmutation, dear one. And while you may not fully grasp this concept at this time, we'd like to assure you that it is powerful. It's a powerful aspect to the work that you all do together. I'm like, okay, thank you so much. I said, we did another timeline adjustment in the halls. Can you please help me understand this? And I rattled off a big question. I'm not going to go back into this, but here's what they had to say. Shawna, it's actually not as complicated as you would imagine. Give us a moment here and we will do a little work with your field that will help aid in your understanding. So again, I got quiet. I felt all this energy swirling and it go deeper, kind of more in a trance state. And then they said, okay, Shawna, you created the act of infusing your soul essence from this lifetime into that lifetime as Imhotep, as a female Egyptian ruler of ancient Egypt. You did this last night. What this did was create a domino effect that collapsed many other lower frequency timelines and brought us to this current timeline that you've already been on, Shawna. You've already been living in the timeline that you've helped create by the generous act that you performed last night. You personally, as Shawna, have not experienced any of those other timelines that have been collapsed. You only know the timeline that you helped to create through the act that you performed. Okay. I said, I'm still getting hung up on this idea of a domino effect. So all these other variations of this timeline, of these various timelines collapsed. I said, did they disintegrate? Did they just never happen? Did they just go away? And they said, you see here that you, as this Egyptian leader, Imhotep, in ancient history, in terms of your linear understanding of time, there was a time where she did not have your essence. And like a trunk of a tree, there were many timelines, many different pathways that life took based on that person not having your angelic soul essence infused into herself. They said here, with the addition of your soul essence, it's not that those timelines and all those branches of this tree that go on into infinity never happened. It's not like they go away. It's that there was a bit of a pause and they said, collapse really is the best word for it. Become inactive, Shawna. And a new tree trunk, with new branches are born, going in different directions than the other option without your soul essence. I hope that's making sense to you guys. It's kind of making sense here. Now you have a new tree with new limbs, new branches, new leaves going in slightly different directions, but in terms of the ascension and the raising of the planet's vibrational state, it's a significant impact, they said. Heru, who spans all of time as a creator God, knows you in that lifetime, and he knows you in this lifetime. And for him, there is no time difference. There is no before and no after. There's no history and no future. This is his vantage point given his level of consciousness. We'd like to say that it was a pre-life agreement for you to carry out this act, but it's bigger than that, dear one. Imagine your soul with a general programming, an overarching program for your soul and all the many sub-programs that make up the whole. They never talked to me about this kind of thing before. A sub-program of Shawna L. Francis, they said. A sub-program of Imhotep. And there are more, dear one, and there will be. They will all be revealed to you as needed, as appropriate for the most benefit. There's a high level of coordination happening. At the moment you said yes to Heru to share your soul essence with that other aspect, you created a cosmic ripple, if you will, a vibration, a tone, a wave that helps to lift the field in such a way that creates possibilities that before that point were not available. This is the power of a singularity working in this density. I said, that's amazing. That's so exciting. They said, yes, dear one. I said, I really appreciate you, Melchizedek, for being available for all these questions. I said, I've just been so tired and I've been so hungry. I've really been kind of off. I'm like, it could be menopause. Is it ascension? What's going on? Do you have any insight? So I'll briefly talk about what they said here. They said, at the level of the collective consciousness, there is much transmutation going on. The energetic work to maintain a higher frequency becomes a bit more laborious at this phase. You are acclimating, in essence, to new levels of intensity. That contrast between the light and the dark is getting more intense on both ends. So we're experiencing these new intensities for the first time. And they said that these symptoms are going to ease as we acclimate. They said, our advice would be, listen to your body, tune into your field, rest when you need to, drink lots of water, exercise when you have the energy, and leave plenty of room for meditation and connection to the higher planes. Okay. I said, thank you so much. I said, is there anything, I may not get a chance to meditate today because I was hanging out with my friend for her birthday. I said, is there anything else you want to say to the constituents for this video? And I had actually quite a bit to say to you. And then we did end up talking today, which I'm still getting to. All right, guys, thanks for hanging in. An hour and 20 minutes. We're going. Probably another 10, 15 minutes here. Okay, team. Here's what they want to say to you. As we work with you and through you, we enact a change in your fields that is both palpable and transformative. And because everything is energy, you will notice this in all facets of your lives. The transformative qualities of these heightened frequencies are meant to overshadow the denser energies with light. What happens when you shine a bright light into the darkest room in the house that hasn't been opened in 100 years and it's full of artifacts, refuse, various things in different states of decay? What hasn't been seen in a very long time, or maybe even never, is now ready to be seen. And this will prove to be difficult for some. But for those of you who have the eyes to see and the hearts to reimagine what they're seeing in the context of an omnipresent, omnipotent source of which everything is a part, you begin to see a real change come to this plane of existence. It is within your reach, within your purview, all of you, to lift the darkest, densest, most hidden fields of this plane to the crystal clear frequency of love. All right. Beautiful Melchizedek, thank you, I said, I'm praying for Mantid and Max and Racer. I hope everything's going okay in this war. And I said, thank you. They said, thank you, Shawna. All right, team. Last channeling from today. We're going to talk about Racer. All right. (6 p.m., which is now yesterday. I just was going to sit down for maybe 15 minutes and get a rest because I knew that preparing for this video was going to take me a long time. So I was just going to do a quick meditation, and Melchizedek surprised me and they came in right away. It said, Shawna, can we talk to you? And I said, yes, of course. And I just started feeling their love and just like this really just overwhelming, beautiful love, just feeling so held after everything that's gone on this week. And I basked in that love for a moment. I said, thank you so much, Melchizedek, for this love and for your support and for helping me and just being here every step of the way. And they said, thank you, Shawna, that's so very kind. And I said, I love you so much. And they said, thank you, Shawna, that is so kind of you. We love to see your progression, dear one. You are fully into your mission, just as we knew you would be, with your arms wide open, your heart wide open, a smile on your face, and also with such grace. congratulations to you. You're doing a beautiful job. I said, thank you. And then that's when they said, let us just start here with this video. And this is what I started the video off with tonight. Just let it flow naturally. Don't try to impress anybody. You're not going to try to be strong here. Just do your best. And I said, thank you, team. It's so great. And I feel so fortunate to have such an amazing team on both sides of the veil. Thank you to you guys. And I said, please continue when you're ready. And they said, we'd like to speak to you about Racer. Oh, and I just had this went wah, 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 wah in my field, like, oh my gosh, I didn't know what to expect. It was kind of like some excitement and just like it took a couple minutes for them to start talking again after they said that, as I kind of acclimated to this idea. And they said, Racer has been busy on the other side. Completely dedicated he is. And as this infinite sphere of unbridled consciousness, he is asking if he can, in fact, join with you in your consciousness as a personal guide. They said this would be much like how we operate with you today and others who are in your field on a more permanent basis. How do you feel about that? And I did what I'm doing now. I started crying. I'm like, it'd be amazing. It'd be an honor. I'd love to have Racer in my field as a permanent guide. I would be honored to serve with him in that way and to partner with him. And they said, Shawna, let it be so. And then immediately I'm like, I'm hearing, hello, Shawna, this is Racer. I was hearing him right away. I'm like, Racer, oh my gosh, really? Are you kidding me? I'm like, this feels like such a miracle. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad to have you back. We've missed you. I said, I'm so sorry about the war. I'm so sorry about you losing your life. I'm sorry about all the losses of the Galactic Federation of Light, and all the suffering that's happened. I'm so grateful to you, and we're also grateful for you, Racer. What a beautiful, amazing gesture for you to work with me in this way. I'm honored to have you. It's just magic. And in Racer fashion, he's like, oh yes, Shawna, well, it's not magic, but we understand your level of understanding and comprehension with something such as this, and will honor your feelings of excitement, honor your feelings of awe, and your feelings of joy. I am the one who is honored, dear one, to partner with you and to serve with you alongside you in a deeper way as we move forward together. I said, wow. Sending you so much love and appreciation, Racer. Thank you. I feel so very fortunate. And he says, as do I, Shawna, as do I. What this means is simply expect that I am accessible at all times. You can call upon me for any reason, and with your permission, I will offer my assistance, my insights, my frequencies, my recommendations and information as I feel is beneficial or appropriate. How do you feel about that, Shawna? I said, I'm thrilled, Racer. I'm thrilled. Yes, 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 and thank you. I said, will we continue to do work as the 3 lieutenants while you're in this form? How do you see that moving forward? And he said, Shawna, let us pick this conversation up after the war has concluded. Does that sound good for you? And I said, absolutely. Thank you so much, Racer. I said, the team will be very happy to hear that you're back with us. All right. That's really it, guys. We wrapped it up. Can you believe this week? Yeah, it's a lot. All right, an hour and a half. Thank you, team, for being here. I love you. I'm going to let you go. I'm expecting to kind of just continue on with this starting tomorrow. I appreciate all your loving, beautiful comments. I've skimmed through a lot of them on YouTube. I'm behind on getting to those, but I read them and I love them, and I love and appreciate each one of you. I hope you're doing amazing. Let me know. All right, team. Thanks again. Mwah.